I love you. Happy birthday. Now vacate the premises.
Yeah. Hello, good morning, BBs.
Good morning. It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
Saige.
Yes, Anthony?
What a time to be alive.
Is this still about Spider-Man?
No, I'm done with the Spidered Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta, listen, I've been saying it for my entire life, but I gotta get this hyperfixation issue taken care of.
Isn't that what all the medications are for?
Yeah.
Not doing it?
I mean, look, it does it some, but here's what's up. Spider-Man came out, and I simply couldn't do anything except Spider-Man for 4 days. I was a prisoner to my brain, where every time I was about to do something else, my brain was like, New York needs you. New York needs you.
Yeah.
MJ needs you. Harry needs you. Miles needs you. Peter's my self-insert, so I don't say Peter needs me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony usually sends me, on average, I'd say a meme a day.
I like to do a meme a day because we're friends.
Yeah.
I like to send my friends just a little meme every day to let them know I'm thinking of them.
I love it. Elise calls it penguin pebbling because penguins just bring each other a little pebble. I love it. I think it's great. I love that you send me things. Not since Spider-Man came out.
But you got one though. You got one yesterday that was very good.
What'd you send me yesterday?
I sent you. See, I sent you something. I'm back to my other hyperfixation, which is
the Mario Wonder TikTok.
Which is Daisy being
I did
in
watch
Mario
that. That was
Wonder.
very funny.
Yeah, there's a guy who just did a TikTok that was just like fun facts about Mario Wonder.
And all 35 facts where you can play as Daisy in Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's wonderful. I'll tell you, I sent that meme to somebody else that I thought would enjoy it. Can I tell you something?
You may.
She's not a Daisy enjoyer.
Oh.
She said Daisy's mid.
Is this misogyny?
I don't know.
Sounds like misogyny.
I don't know. She said Daisy's boring. She's a Peach fan. And I said, you think Peach is the less boring princess?
Whoa. Now, post-movie, pre-movie, there's conversations to be had there. Depends on if you played the Peach game on the Nintendo DS. Peach is very interesting. But Daisy's great.
Daisy's great.
Daisy's great.
She's a little firecracker.
Yeah.
We like her.
He said no pickles.
Said no pickles. She was like, what's Daisy even the princess of? I was like, sass. Don't you fucking ask what Daisy's the princess of. How do you not know? Daisy's the princess of our hearts.
That's
what Daisy is. I can't believe it. I think, and I said Daisy's the tough one. Daisy's this, that.
Yeah.
She said, it's all a front. She said, if I flicked Daisy in the nose, she would cry.
Whoa!
And I said, excuse me, Princess Peach's literal game had an entire cry button. It took up a quarter of the screen to make her cry.
Yeah.
And then she said, yeah, have you ever heard of emotional manipulation? It's good and it works. And I was like, you know what? You're right.
Well,
you're right, but it sounds like maybe
I don't know. There's a lot
you
of
need to go to therapy, and so does
slander.
Daisy, or so does Peach.
Yeah, this is a lot of slander for Daisy, and I don't appreciate it.
At least she's not a Rosalina person.
What? I love Rosalina.
I love Rosalina too, but I don't think Rosalina is the most interesting princess.
Rosalina might be my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I love Rosalina and Luma.
I love them as portrayed in Mario Galaxy 1.
I love them in Mario Galaxy, and I love them in Smash.
Yeah?
Yeah, big fan.
See, I think in Mario Galaxy 2, where they were like, we're just gonna toss out all the story. Because Miyamoto's like, ugh, story.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ew, you made a little Prince analog in my game and it made people feel. That's not what this is about.
After that, she was just there.
After that, she just floats and looks perfect. And I just, you know what?
That is kind of my dream.
That is your dream.
Speaking of floating and looking perfect, good morning, Alex.
Good morning. Hi. I'm not exactly floating today, but I am looking
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. Welcome back. We
Thank
missed
you.
you while you were gone.
I missed you guys.
Josh
honestly.
very kindly filled in.
Yes.
And we loved having Spider Josh, but I had to tell him that he had to press all of the buttons that are labeled Alex. I'm like, yeah, no, it's still going to say Alex Cam.
It's my chair. It's made for me.
Yeah. And listen, Josh is a beautiful, beautiful man.
Yeah.
And it was tough for a few minutes there because he kept wanting to push a Josh button.
Yeah.
He was like, wait a minute.
He's just Ken.
He's just Ken. He's just Josh.
Yeah. We love him for that. Alex, how was your weekend? You were out of town for a wedding?
Yeah, actually, I went to my first ever lesbian wedding in Texas, which was an amazing experience. My friend Pooja had previously been married to her wife, Laura. This was just the reception, but I got to meet a bunch of her family, and there was a lot of dancing. She's Indian, so it was like lots of music, beautiful outfits.
Was it like a whole weekend thing?
It wasn't a whole weekend thing,
Okay.
but we did go to Ren Fair together as part of the
fun.
wedding reception because they're big Ren Fair nerds.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Amazing.
And a lot of the time, I mean, like Indian weddings are absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time that's for like the family specifically that it goes on throughout the entire like eventized week.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I saw photos and videos on Instagram and everybody looked stunning. And I love a lesbian wedding.
I love when people just do the party for friends.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big believer in I don't like wedding as spectacle. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It feels like it's just
Yeah.
yeah. But I do like, hey, we did the thing.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate the thing. I love a big celebration of things.
See, my thing is I'm so embarrassed by my own existence that I could never say I love you like that to my partner. And this is a horrible thing I'm about to say. In front of a bunch of people, I'd be like, oh my God, ick, I'm so sorry. I'd be so embarrassed. I'm a horrible person. I want to preface that I don't think this is healthy.
So she's like, do you take this person? And Saige goes, I do, or not, or not, right, bud? Gotcha.
Like it's chill whatever. Like it's chill whatever.
Or not.
Yeah.
It could be all a goof. Is it a goof?
Yeah. I could never admit that I liked somebody in front of all of my loved ones. So that would be pretty tough for me. Yeah, absolutely mortified that I care about someone exactly tension. Truly and genuinely, I would be so incredibly icked by myself.
Truly, fellas, is it gay to love your wife?
Yeah. Yeah. I recognize that this is a personal problem of mine, but I just couldn't do it in front of other people.
I love that. I love that for you.
I don't know, anything already. I'm standing up there and people are looking at me.
You might want to re-examine what we do for a living.
I know. I do every day, Anthony. I do every single day.
No, but you know what? I tell people this all the time. Because as we know, I don't socialize, I nap.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm medically sleepy. I have a doctor's note. But people are always like, oh, but you work a lot on stage and you work on camera and you talk to strangers all the time. I was like, no. There's a set of rules when we do this.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody agrees to the agreed upon rules when you do something like this or you do a live stage show or something.
Yeah.
And technically everybody's kind of pre-agreed when you do a wedding.
I guess.
I mean, everybody's kind of agreed, though you never know what's going to happen at the last minute.
Somebody could object.
I've seen so many Lifetime movies where somebody objects at the last minute. I've seen it's the entire, when Katherine Heigl was a thing, that was her entire genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's impossible to know what's going to happen at a wedding. So I get you. Were there any objections this weekend, Alex? Did anything happen at the last minute that was very dramatic?
No, they were very cute.
Okay.
I almost cried when they came in and they said that Pooja's wife was taking her last name. Like they said the last name and I just melted.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when women.
And I just, if I can be honest for a moment, everybody be cool.
You may.
I just love love. It's so cute. I just love love.
Aww.
You know, that's very nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice when I just like a wedding. I don't like all the event of a
You like attending weddings?
of a ceremonial wedding. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I need to be here. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm like, I don't know if I need to be here.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a more private thing. But for the big party,
Yeah, don't admit you like someone in front of me. Yeah, don't admit you like someone in front of me.
Ooh, gross. I get secondhand embarrassment. They're like, ooh, they said they want to be with each other.
To be clear, I've never thought that about anyone else. I want to be clear about how the type of bad person I am. That's just reserved for me.
Yeah.
When other people do it, I'm like, beautiful. I love it. How wonderful. How gorgeous. Please profess your love for each other. I too would cry.
Yeah.
I too would cry exactly when Alex said of like, she's taking Pooja's last name. Beautiful.
That's the thing. That's the part that I like. I don't want to be there for the ceremony. I want to be there for the part at the party where they walk in for the first time and they go, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, the blanks or, you know, like, I just love that.
Cute.
Yeah.
Oh, cute. I've never been to a fun wedding.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry to anybody whose wedding I've been to.
Well, that's the other reason.
I hope none of them are watching. I've never been to a fun wedding in my life.
I think that's the other thing about people being involved in the main ceremony and all the rigmarole around it is like, for most people, that's not the cool part.
No.
Listen, it's like, hey, do you want to see pictures of my baby? No. No, I don't. I don't really. Like, I want to see a couple pictures of your baby and I'm excited for you, but like, I don't want to do a whole thing. I don't want you scrolling through
I
your
run out
camera
of
roll.
things to say about your baby 2 photos in.
2 photos in. That's a baby. I've seen them.
Right. Like, I can be like, oh my God, she's so cute. Wow. And then by the second photo, I can be like, look, she has your eyes. And by the third, I'm like, is she in close-up magic?
Like, yeah, what's that?
Oh, do you think that she'll be, do you think that she'll be tall?
Yeah, like, what did she think about this season finale of, I don't know, like, I don't even watch TV.
I just don't have anything in common with your baby.
Yeah,
I'm
your
so
baby
sorry.
and I don't see your baby and I just being friends.
No.
I just don't see it working.
I don't know what I would say to your baby.
So now when your baby turns into a little person, that's hilarious and good. I want to hang out with a little person.
Yeah.
I feel like weddings, for the most part, like, you can feel the requirements and the overscheduling of them a lot. I think a lot of people, when they get married in a way that is that comes from a lot of pressure from friends and family.
Oh yeah, usually
it's like,
family.
You have to get married here. You have to get married this way. You have to get married, and then there's like all these scheduling things. No. Let's go to the party where we celebrate the fact that y'all are in love forever.
Yeah, that's cute.
That's the good part.
That's cute. Full weddings, and I've been to like celebrations, but like full weddings, only ever straight people. And here's the thing. I'm 27 years old and I live in Los Angeles. So like people my age in LA are not getting married.
Yeah.
We're not doing that in this city for the most part. It's very rare for somebody like in their 20s to get married in LA. I feel like it's later than the national average probably for when people get married here, if at all.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I've been to a lot of like, oh, we flew to Idaho for a straight wedding.
Yes.
And ooh, rough times, everybody.
Yeah. I've been to a lot of where I grew up. I went to in my early mid-20s, a lot of weddings that were like the very one metric wedding in a box.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this looks exactly like every other wedding, and it's done exactly like every other wedding. And I've gone to some friends' weddings that are very fun. I've gone to some extremely fun weddings.
Yeah. Honestly, none of my friends getting married.
Yeah.
They're just not out here getting married.
Here's the thing. In LA, you just want to be sure that you're not going to get cast on like a big CW thing.
And then have to go to Canada.
And then have to be, and then you're married to somebody that was like somebody that you married before you were like on the CW.
Oh my God.
Like
horrible.
That's the thing. Is like, oh no, is this the person that I want to be married to when I'm in a Marvel movie? That's a lot of LA, I think.
Horrible.
It's true.
Absolutely
I think that's
disgusting.
a lot of LA.
I also just want to shout out one of my favorite comments. Jelly PB said, sorry, baby, you're just not relatable.
That baby, there's nothing relatable about that baby, except that it seems to be crying in fear and anger all the time.
Which, yeah.
That's
honestly,
the most
kind
relatable.
of a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that in that case, kind of a vibe. Anyways.
Also, me and baby can both stick entire fist in mouth.
Don't.
Okay.
Not here on the show. How many times have I said you cannot put your entire fist in your mouth on the show?
Check out my Fansly.
Anyways, everybody, today we are going to be getting into actual news. I promise. We're going to be talking a little bit about the PS5 Slim. We're going to be talking about Rocksmith going away. We're going to be talking about the announced Apple event. We're going to be talking about kids doing Roblox activism. There we go. Can speak. Promise. And whether or not we think GTA 6 is being announced tomorrow.
I don't know. I've been looking at the clues. I've been looking at the clues.
People want to know.
But first, let's talk about something that popped up about the new PS5 Slim.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is everybody's so looking forward to the PS5 Slim, he said. But no citation needed on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know how people feel about the PS5 Slim. I think a lot of people were like, oh, I thought it would be slimmer.
It looks the same to me.
When they put the new one next to the old one, you can definitely tell, but we're definitely at a point in the history of video game consoles where they ain't tiny anymore.
No.
They're basically like ITX or mini ATX PCs.
Yeah.
They're not getting any smaller than that.
It's not that much smaller. I'm looking at it. Will you show my screen? I don't feel like it's that much smaller.
Listen, it's one of those things where by volume, that's way smaller, but yeah, it's not the same as like when that
the PS2 Slim?
The PS2 Slim.
The PS2 Slim was teensy.
Yeah.
It was absolutely teensy.
Or even the PS3 Slim.
I don't remember the PS3 Slim. I never had a PS3. That's the only.
I had the launch PS3, which was the huge bubble with the Spider-Man font on it that said PlayStation 3. It was massive.
Uh-huh.
I wonder what the
screen no work.
I wonder what the PS3 size is compared to the PS5. I'll bring up the Slim comparison here, Alex. Give me a second.
Oh, now it work? That's weird.
Oh, okay.
Well, I've got the PS5 versus the Slim pulled up.
It's definitely smaller, but I think everybody expected more.
Yeah. Okay.
And of course, it's $50 more than its counterpart.
Yeah.
Which already got a price hike.
Right.
So I think that makes it hard for people to be excited about it.
Why is it more expensive? I mean,
tiny.
Oh,
little.
No.
Small.
No.
Baby. It's baby. But one of the things that's interesting about the PS5 Slim is you can buy the discless version and attach a special PS5 disc drive afterwards. You can buy a bundle or you can buy it afterwards. And so that people are like, oh, cool. So I can buy the Slim, buy all my games digital, but if I want physical media, I can hook up this drive. But that to me feels like when you buy an impossibly small computer and then the AC adapter sticks out and it's like a full power supply.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
What's the point?
Right now, I already have an external SSD connected to my PS5 for my PS4 library, and I already hate that exists.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I already hate that exists. I hate that it's just another drive dangling off a thing that's already huge. Yeah. But the biggest thing people are talking about with this drive is not that it's wild, which it is, but that in order to pair it to a console, it has to be connected to the internet. It's not just a physical drive that you hook up. You have to hook up this drive, connect to the internet, and then the drive pairs itself to a specific console.
Why?
It's disk drive DRM for your disk drive.
That's not cool.
No, it's extremely uncool.
I just don't get it. You know what would have been, in my opinion? Hey, Sony, listen. Think about the way that they said, okay, here's the Nintendo Switch at the Nintendo Switch price. Here is the smaller Nintendo Switch, which is a little less powerful at a lower price point for people who want to play it. Why didn't they do one of those for the PlayStation? Why would they give us another more expensive option and not like, hey, here's a slightly more accessible PS5 because we've already raised the price and everybody who can afford it already has it?
I don't know.
Like, wouldn't that be a better move? Wouldn't that be a better move?
Well, one of the reasons they're saying that it's worth more money is that it does come with a larger internal storage. The PS5 came with 825 gigs of storage internally. The new PS5 Slim comes with a terabyte of storage. So you're getting an extra 175 gigs, but that feels like a very Apple upcharge.
It is. And here's the thing. I'm not even saying that the hardware isn't worth the price hike.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's not more valuable hardware. I know that it is also hard to make things more compact. And a lot of the time, those kinds of parts are more expensive. It's not that. It's that I just don't think this is the thing we needed.
No.
I don't think we needed the like slightly more compact, but slightly more expensive version of the PS5. Like, it's not a big enough difference that it's like, oh, well, if I couldn't fit a PS5 before, now I can.
Yes.
No, absolutely not. It's not a big enough difference for that. It's like, well, why not then make something that is like the Switch Lite?
Well, and I think you're hitting on something that's super important here, which is we have been sort of trained throughout the entire history of personal electronics to slim version, small version, mini version, more affordable version, right? Think about every single thing has been like that. Everything from iPhones to iPods to everything. Game consoles. The slim has always been the more affordable option.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be, and in console history in particular, it means the console has been out so long, the manufacturing process has been so perfected that we can now miniaturize it and sell it for less.
Yes.
This is now a more commodity thing. All the early adopters have the thing. This is for people who were on the fence or maybe don't make games a huge priority in their life. But this is not that. This is essentially the same price. I don't know.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it. I would love to know from you all, though, because maybe there is something that is just like we're not the target audience for it. So are any of you going to be picking up the PS5 Slim? Is this something that appeals to you? Was the size something that was holding you back?
Yeah.
I would love to know if this is something for any of you.
Well, and I definitely want to hit on before I want to hit on this too. A hard drive that or a disk drive that requires a connection to the internet on the console to pair to the console. Like, I really want to hammer this home. I'm not somebody who buys stuff on discs anymore. I don't buy physical games.
No.
But I understand the importance of physical drives and physical games for preservation's sake. And what a lot of people are saying on the preservation side is what happens in a few years when this is discontinued and you can't play your games that are on disc because your drive isn't paired. Now that's going to be it's going to be a very like small percentage of people that have this thing and this drive and it's not already paired. But that's still something that's going to come up.
Yeah.
And it's a very weird thing. I mean, it's obviously some sort of anti-piracy measure. I wonder if there's some sort of specific. Sometimes they'll do this with consoles where there's something specific about that drive that makes it able to read the games properly, and they don't want people hooking it up to a PC and reverse engineering it.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. I would also say too, so it's like, oh, well, I want to play a disc. Hey, can I borrow your disc reader? It's like, no, it's like all paired and shit, just making it harder.
Man, that's the other thing that's screwed up.
Yeah. They're making it harder for people to like share hardware and shit.
It's very odd. The whole thing's very odd. Before we move on, just
What?
stay exactly like you are.
Okay. I know, because I realized that I was slouching a little bit, and I don't want to be slouching a little bit.
Okay. I got you.
Thanks. Hey, thanks.
I got you.
I'm glad we cut to me for that so we can see it.
This is a television production course. We're not just sharing the news with you. We're sharing a trade.
Yeah.
Everybody comes out of this more employable.
Yep.
That's what we decided early on.
Yep.
And that's what we do every week. We said it's less a show and more a vocational school, is what we said.
All right. Well, so far everybody has said no to the PS5, no to the PS5 Slim, no to the PS5 Slim bundle.
Yeah.
So far everybody in our chat has said no. We'll
now,
see.
what if I told you it comes bundled with Spider-Man 2, which a version of it does?
You can just get Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, speaking of bundles, which is a word that, if said more than 3 times, becomes an instant ick for me. Ugh. And we just hit it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that time of me saying it was the one.
All right. Well, I'll refrain as much as possible then.
Crunchyroll is now going to be available as an optional add-on for Prime Video.
Okay.
They've brokered some kind of deal to do so. So this is available for the US, UK, Canada, and Sweden, with supposedly more territories to come soon. And they can choose between 2 Crunchyroll membership tiers, Fan at $7.99 a month or Mega Fan with $9.99 a month. Both allow you to watch everything in the Crunchyroll anime library. It's not a big money save.
No, it's
but
not.
It is nice to go to one app.
Yeah.
I will admit that. If you're somebody that uses Prime Video a lot, having your Crunchyroll library in there would actually be very convenient.
Yeah, and it's, also if you have a, I guess if you have like a Fire TV or something like that, like a Fire Stick,
Yeah.
just having it there. I had during when the Twin Peaks return came out a few years ago, I had that. I had Showtime Plus on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Because it was just an easy one-click thing.
Yeah.
I think Crunchyroll has been making some moves lately. When you think about that, when you think about their 24-hour streaming channel, some of the other stuff they've been making some moves that sort of show that they're willing to remain sort of nimble and make new decisions as other streaming services kind of come for their lunch.
Oh, I mean, they ate Funimation. / they merged, and one is the parent company, one is the face, one is the name. I don't know.
Oh, well, and they're both under Sony.
Yeah.
And I believe High Dive, which was Sony's anime, it still exists as a separate option, but I can't imagine it will exist for very long.
Okay.
And I think this is just Sony continuing to consolidate their anime empire against Netflix, Amazon, other streamers that are really getting big into anime. Netflix in particular has made huge moves.
And some like very successful ones.
Oh yeah.
They've made some good shit.
Some of the biggest hits of the last few years were not on Crunchyroll for the first time. I mean, you had Made in Abyss, which wasn't on Crunchyroll. You had shows like Beastars, which was huge. That was a Netflix show.
And even in live action, you have people going to Netflix for One Piece, and then the entire One Piece library is on there.
And that's something that Crunchyroll can't do, right? Like Netflix can say, we're going to make a big budget Cowboy Bebop. And while you're here watching that, why don't you watch all this anime as well? And then you're locked in.
Way of the House Husband was another big one for
I
Netflix.
love Way of the House Husband.
Love Way of the House Husband.
So good. So good.
So I looked it up. It's actually the same price as Crunchyroll memberships. $7.99 and $9.99 are the first 2 tiers of Crunchyroll memberships. Both are completely ad-free. I was trying to see in here, and I might ask Alex to look this up because somebody asked if you can link pre-existing accounts so that you can have your watch history and stuff like that.
Oh, usually,
I would be very curious to find that out.
Yeah, usually, like when I did my Showtime one, it was like, hey, do you have a Showtime account? If not, let's create you one.
Right.
So I have a feeling it'll link to that maybe.
So I'm gonna throw to Alex to confirm on that for me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But it's probably a thing. Here's hoping.
It looks like you can.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. And one of the things that's really important to realize here is if you are bundling your app, your streaming service on Amazon Prime Video or on the Kindle or on the Fire Marketplace or whatever, an interesting thing to keep in mind is Crunchyroll is willing to take the percentage hit, right? Like Amazon is going to get a chunk of anybody who subscribes through Amazon. And that's not something Crunchyroll was willing to do up until this year, which means things are changing for them and things are changing for anime.
Yeah. Look, it's the thing of like we're simultaneously wanting to be anti-monopoly and pro-convenience, and sometimes it is hard.
Yeah, it's only hard because our fucking anti-corporate laws are not as strong as they were
non-existent.
30-40 years ago.
Yeah.
It should be fine. It should be fine. We should like the EU, UK making Apple put USB-C in a phone.
Yeah.
Should have been easy to do.
Should have been easy.
Let me tell you something. Apple, I'm still wilding out about how Apple was like, we added USB-C and it's amazing and we did it and it's a brilliant innovation and here's why we did it and here's why we love you and that's why we did it. And I was just like, motherfucker, do you think we don't know? Do you really think we don't know? That's wild to me.
Hey, speaking of Apple.
The
same day that we are doing something special on this channel, Apple is also doing something special. They have announced their Scary Fast event for October 30th. There is a lot of suspicion.
It's the name of my
Mac.
sex tape.
Gross, Anthony.
I'm not proud of it.
You're fired.
I'm not proud of it. I wish it had any other title.
Apple's gearing up for another product launch on October 30th. Companies started sending out invites for everyone to tune into an event called Scary Fast on Apple.com and on YouTube. They say that there's a lot of rumors that they're preparing for the new Mac lineup. It's about that time. So
yeah, when was this, the studio? The last studio update was announced like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
yeah.
Do we think it's M3? Is it M3 time?
Well, we've done M2 Pro already, so yeah, it's probably M3 time.
Dang. I gotta wonder. So Mac sales, actual sales of Macs,
Yeah.
your laptops, your Mac minis, your whatevers, actual Mac computers are down over this year.
Okay.
And I have to, obviously there's an economic downturn. Obviously, people are holding on to things a little bit longer. I think people understand now that they don't need to update their tech every single year.
And I don't know if it's just that. I think it's that maybe previously they did with Apple too. Like the M1 and M2s were so good that it's like most of us aren't noticing that like it's been a little time.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a big
I'm
thing.
on the first generation of M1s on my laptop. Still kicks ass.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's something that a lot of people have been saying that I think is maybe valid, but it's like Apple has done so well with these last couple generations that there's nothing like all the improvements, unless you're at the very, very, very top end,
Yeah.
are theoretical.
Yeah, it depends on it. Like I would say the laptops, like I do notice a difference. Like I've used ones with an M2 in it and I'm like, oh, I do see the difference with like even basic video editing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. For daily like internet browsing, no, you're not going to notice anything.
But even for video editing, like it's still faster than most of the stuff that you used before, right? Like I remember when you got the M1, you were like, dang, this is really fast for video.
Yeah, when I got the M1, it was kicking my PC's ass on editing.
And you have a real like motherfucker of a PC.
I do now.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, that was before my big upgrade, but it was still a pretty like,
It was good.
it was still a high-end PC for sure.
Yeah.
It's just the way that Apple processes different things. I've always preferred editing on Apple in general. It's also one of those things where like there are always less errors than the way that like the Adobe suite interacts with Windows is
Yes.
consistently has way, way more just like bugs.
Well, Apple's been good. Apple has always had video codecs built into the core of the OS.
Yeah.
And one of the big deals with the M processors
Yeah.
was the video encode and decode.
Right.
Like video IO on those computers is huge. So I have to wonder, even if you've tried an M2, like do you feel like you want to upgrade soon?
No, honestly, mostly it would be like for fun or because like I've done a couple of things that have messed up. Like my ports are starting to get a little bad because I spilled on them.
Sure.
Those are very much user error. That's the only reason I could see doing that. I'm with Apple always skip a generation. And I've skipped like, the generation and a half, almost kind of two because it's M1, M1 Pro, M2, M2 Pro. If this was M3, I'm not urgent to upgrade, but I'm like, might be fun.
Might be.
I won't probably do it because might be fun is not $3,000.
No.
But I don't feel the need to. But what I will say is now I'm back to editing on my PC if I'm processing like 4K footage, for instance.
Right.
Because I've done such a big PC upgrade since then.
Yeah.
So it's like,
have
they
you
climb.
mentioned what video card you have? I don't know if you mentioned it.
Oh, I mean, like it's like a 4090 or whatever, but like I don't want to.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I just don't know if you had ever mentioned that.
No, I probably never mentioned it to anyone. I'm probably very like subtle about having a 4090.
So we think new Macs at this. Is that what we're thinking?
We do. We think new Macs at this. So previous rumors had hinted at obviously the M3 as well as a new iMac. This one looks like it might even be a like a 24-inch iMac is potentially the new lineup.
Great.
They say that the inventory of 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros have begun to dry up, which makes them think that there are new ones coming, that they're running through stock essentially and not producing more of the M2 Pro ones yet.
Yeah.
So the rumors right now are new MacBook Pro with an M3 and new iMac with an M3.
I'll tell you what, an iMac right now, if the price point stays kind of where iMacs historically are, I think an iMac is an incredible buy right now. All of those computers now
I love iMacs.
All the internals are exactly the same. It doesn't matter what you're buying. All the internals are the same across their entire product line now. And
I love the look of them too.
Yeah.
The new iMacs are so pretty.
And you can just hold on to an Apple panels always have great color fidelity.
Yeah.
I think an iMac right now is a really, really strong buy for somebody who's starting from scratch. I think if you're somebody who wants to jump onto the into Macs right now, genuinely, you can't find a better computer deal right now than the Mac Mini with the M processors. If you already have a keyboard and
it's
a
a
laptop
really good
or a
deal.
monitor, it's a hugely great deal.
I was looking recently, I watched a video not too long ago of breaking down all of the M2 and M2 Pro products in the Apple line. And the Mac Studio is also appealing to me. I've never bought a Mac Studio.
Yeah.
I've only ever had iMacs and MacBooks.
Well, the Studio itself is like a new form factor just for the M chips, which is exciting. It's little. It's like the Mac Mini, but it's bigger boy.
Yeah. Like mini, but not as mini.
Like mini, but not as mini.
Yeah.
No, I don't think buying a Mac Pro, the big tower, that's literally now
That's
for
unhinged.
editing facilities, audio, like sound
VFX
studios,
houses.
big tier.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a Mac Studio is a hugely great deal as well.
Yeah.
I think the Mac computers right now are just crushing.
Yeah.
Are just crushing.
It's very interesting too. And it's like, I'm curious to see when people that take computers very seriously, your Windows bros, start to acknowledge it. Because it's like, there was a huge discrepancy for the longest time, especially at price point with Macs, with like the power, where it was like, you're going to pay this much and the power that you get was absolutely very, very below.
Yeah, it started right around like, I would say about like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was about to leave Discovery and we had just swapped over from being an all Mac shop to like an all PC shop because our editors were like, we simply cannot work on these anymore.
And it was a completely like valid criticism of it at the time. Now, since the M chips, honestly, like we're still not getting things that are like the ability to game on it. Like we're not seeing games come out for OS X, we're not seeing anything that's like acknowledging where Macs are at right now. And plus it's still seen as the like frivolous, like lower,
I think
like accessible consumer computer. And I'm like,
I think the Apple headset is going to change that. And I think the larger,
really?
And I think that's stealth, one of the markets that they're hoping that the headset gets them into. And also all of the games that they just announced for iOS, your Resident Evil 4 remakes and Assassin's Creed and all that stuff. They're definitely working on a translation layer for iOS apps to work on Macs.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to try to get games onto the Mac in a big way that way, make it easier to port, things like that.
I'm curious to see.
I'm curious to see it. Macs have never had their foothold, and I don't think they need games.
Yeah.
But if they want to go after it and they get it, I think that's all right.
Yeah, they don't need it. I'm just like, they could do it now.
They could do it.
Like I can stream on the go on my MacBook. I still find myself though, like, you know what I mean? We're in the position that's very interesting too, where it's like, it's hard. And like lately I travel with my Alienware and that's what I use for the show because there are also just so many things that are still incompatible with OS X.
Yeah.
Like for this, we show our laptop screens on here and trying to do that from an Apple computer is so much freaking harder.
Yeah, getting NDI with audio has been a challenge for us from Go.
Anything. And like you couldn't stream on Apple in the beginning because you couldn't get any kind of desktop audio without a million steps on it. Like you couldn't get any game audio if you're running to it anyways.
It's still got its things. But I think if you're looking for a computer for like creative pro work, you can't do better than one of the Mac line right now or a PowerBook or a MacBook line.
Yeah.
A power book.
Power
Yeah,
book.
I think you should go back and get a power book.
Yeah, Anthony.
I think you should get an Apple Power Book. Get a G4.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Speaking of things, that's the only time anyone's ever said that about G4.
Whoa.
Anyways, speaking of things that are old, let's talk about Rocksmith. Does anyone remember the game Rocksmith? It is the 10-year anniversary. The game came out in 2014, so we're coming up on it, the beginning of 2014. And it was a game where you could plug a guitar into your console or your PC and learn how to play guitar.
I had one sitting in my drawer for years. I got like a review one when it came out. And I was like, this is cool. This is the thing that I'll finally use to learn to play the guitar. But I didn't own an electric guitar and I wasn't going to buy one for Rocksmith.
Sure.
And so I was like,
how are you going to learn how to play without the guitar, Anthony?
Well, that's the thing. I was like, one day I'll have the time to prioritize it. And I put it in my drawer and I closed the little drawer.
And then it was gone forever.
And then time passed. It was like a Terrence Malick movie where you saw like the inside of the drawer as the light was passing and entire societies growing, flowers blooming and dying. And then the last time I moved, I finally threw it out.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find anybody who wanted it.
Well, that might be the reason that for the 10th anniversary, for its 10th celebrated birthday of Rocksmith, they're killing it. Ubisoft made an announcement that was so fucking funny to me in the way that they did it. Because like the announcement of a game being removed from shops, from storefronts, from purchase is very sad and it's a big deal.
They probably have a community of almost 12 people.
I would bet.
That play Rocksmith that are going to be so bummed.
But this just made me laugh so hard because the way they announced it, it was such a bait and switch that it sounded like they were announcing something positive by the way that they said it. So nearly 10 years ago, we launched Rocksmith 2014 and set out on a journey of learning and playing guitar together, practicing old favorites and discovering new ones along the way. We thank you for an incredible decade and know a big part of that was being able to feature officially licensed music to learn and play in Rocksmith 2014. Now, as we approach the decade mark, we must remove Rocksmith for purchase from all digital storefronts as of October 23rd, 2023.
I'm sorry, what? Were you just saying happy birthday and thank you to me for your birthday? You were, right?
Yeah. And then also,
congratulations.
Bye. It's like, they don't sell a card for this, but it's happy birthday to me, thank you for celebrating me, and also farewell.
Imagine walking into your own surprise party, grabbing one drink and leaving. It's just like, oh, cool. Thanks, everybody.
And I'm moving.
I'm on my way. Yeah, I'm actually on my way to a new city for a new life with new friends that are going to celebrate my new birthday.
They say DLC packs and singles for Rocksmith 2014 will be removed from storefronts over time as well. Anyone who already owns Rocksmith 2014 will still have access to it, and any owned DLC, they say, with no change or interruption in service.
For now.
For some reason, Ubisoft subscription-based Rocksmith Plus remains available.
Okay.
They said it's looking to introduce some of the biggest names. Anthony? They said it's looking to introduce some of its biggest names in metal, rock, R&B, and more to the game in the coming months.
Okay.
To Rocksmith Plus.
Yeah.
For the people that can still play their Rocksmith Plus.
Yeah.
And still do?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm hearing here. I'm hearing that the subscription one, their licensing deals are based on total number of paying subscribers.
Yeah.
And it's a perpetual license.
Yeah.
And also there's probably something in the terms that says, just like any other subscription, anything, it's like, hey, songs are going to come and go. Whereas the old Rocksmith was built on the old licensing deals like Rock Band was, which is you pay $1 for a song and you own that song forever.
Right. So again, like you can't just use Rocksmith Plus. You have to have already had the game in order to get Rocksmith Plus to play on there in the subscription-based model that'll give you access to like 1,700 songs or something like that. But the base game that had all of those songs baked into it can no longer be purchased because their licensing agreement with those songs is up. It was only a 10-year deal.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, that's a pretty long-term deal for music licensing in games. I mean, this is the problem that we're seeing with a lot of remakes, remasters, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is entire song, even on TV shows.
Right.
When you buy them on streaming services, it's like, oh, that song can't be in that episode anymore. So we replaced it with whatever the whatever the Wish Temu version of that song was.
I love those, like the Love Island ones and all the other reality show ones that have like strangely specific songs where it's just like somebody's walking out of the pods on Love is Blind, like, and then it's just like, I'm gripping on my notebook. His name is on the front page. He said that he was into sports. And you're like, doesn't that kind of sound like a song I know?
Does it? Yeah.
Isn't that what they were just talking about?
Wasn't that? I came across a TikTok of a woman who writes a lot of that music, and she's like, I write like 40 songs a month and sell them to reality shows, and that's how I make most of my money.
I love it.
Because they need so much music.
Yeah.
She's like, I make so much money just writing pop songs for reality shows.
And it has to be the most generic, but I feel like there's two. There's one that's like, there's one category that is so generic that it genuinely sounds like ChatGPT wrote a love song.
Yes.
And then there's the ones that are like a little weirdly specific that are just like MILF Manor, a song from a son to his mother.
Yes.
You know? There's no in between.
I love it.
It's great. It's
I
fantastic.
love it.
So rest in peace to Rocksmith, I suppose.
But hey, so if you also have a Terrence Malick drawer, now's the time. You got to get started on those music lessons now, because you've got a month to become the best at guitar in the world.
No, it's already gone, Anthony.
You fucked up.
2 days ago.
You fucked up. It's over already.
2
You'll
days
never
ago.
learn guitar. Sorry.
It was like, by the time they announced it, it was already happening. It was like, happy birthday. Sorry. Bye.
I thought that had to have been. My brain processed that as a month from now, because I was like, that
They
can't
wouldn't
be.
do
They
that.
they wouldn't.
No, literally, they announced it on October 20th, and it was gone on October 23rd. They gave people 3 days to purchase Rocksmith before it was gone forever.
Dang. I love you. Happy birthday. Now vacate the premises.
Yeah, you don't have to go home, but you can't
Yeah.
stay here.
You just, that's what the world thinks happens in America when people turn 18.
Yeah. I mean,
It kind of does.
it kind of does.
And that's why it's the goof. But
Yeah.
I always see like people posting online that aren't from America that's like, I heard at 18 you just get forcibly kicked out onto the street in America.
I mean, I did.
Kind of.
I mean, I did.
It's kind of tradition, but it's not like.
What it is it is a normal expected thing in America, and in a lot of other cultures there are like multi-generational households
Yeah, of
and
course.
things that are like normalized. Here it's like looked down upon, it's frowned upon to still live with your family after 18.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. Not every family does that.
There's a lot-
but
yeah, there's a
there
lot
is
of societal
yeah,
pressure.
There is like an American cultural thing of like you move out at 18.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't, and as the economy gets worse and worse, a lot of people don't. That's definitely
Yeah.
changing.
It's the change in like the last like 15 years that I've seen has been huge.
Yeah, people can't afford it anymore.
Because it's just like, why would you even?
Yeah.
Why would you even?
Yeah. And it's also one of those wild things where if you really think about it and the expectation is for a teenager to move out at 18, that means we are expecting them to child labor because you'd already have to have the money to move out.
Yep.
So which means you would have had to be laboring as a minor, like inherently.
Right. Or you can go into an insane amount of debt to live at school.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of people do.
Right.
Instead of going straight into the workforce, they go, oh, I'll just build up this debt that no one's ever going to.
That'll pay for the rest of my life.
No one's ever going to pay it back. No one's ever going to pay it back.
Speaking of what the kids are doing,
Gotta let it go.
speaking of strange things that the kids are doing and things that kids are doing at a very young age, there has been, there was a 200 player solidarity protest in Roblox for Palestine this week.
Okay.
And I think it's very interesting to see child activism, like in the sense of kids are so much more exposed to like world atrocities, right? Like kids are so much more aware of what's happening in the
They
world
know everything that's
than
going
we
on.
were.
Yeah.
Like way, way more. And also they not only know, but they see themselves as like an active participant if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In like the political system and in like world news and politics.
Because they are in a way that we never were as well, because you can directly say whatever you want to whoever you want, including politicians.
Yeah.
On social media. You can make them see what you have to say.
Absolutely. And there's kids that are communicating directly with each other, and the access to the internet means that like kids only had the information we gave them until the internet. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So open access means if it goes out on the internet, even if it's not intended to go out to children, children receive it. You know what I mean? Like everything, the trending topics on social media platforms, all of these things, kids are inherently involved in taking in information that is like not, I don't want to say not for them, but it wasn't like written for them, if that makes sense. Like these news articles or whatever that are not written for these kids.
Sure.
Like there's nothing stopping these kids.
And I think it's done a lot. I think it's done a lot of good and a lot of ill, right?
Yeah.
It's still, just like it's done a lot of good and a lot of ill for us as adults. Like nobody is supposed to be exposed to everything. Like human beings are not built for that.
No, and it often desensitizes us to take in too much at a time.
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on. We can't mentally process all of it.
Yeah.
So this was very interesting to me. And obviously I will say, hi, we are a pop culture news show. We are not a source for world politics and events. So this is not us covering the actual story at hand. This is about...
No, I think I'm an expert. I can do it. Yeah, I can break this down for everybody.
So with that in mind, please follow trusted news sources on things that are much larger than It's Too Early, if that makes sense. So with that in mind, we're in the interest of like staying, I don't want to say in our like lane, but to some extent of being like, hi, we're not the people that you should listen to talk about the actual world event going on. We're just talking about Roblox right now and this thing that was happening. So 200 kids gathered in Roblox for a pro-Palestinian march in solidarity, carrying Palestinian flags. And I'm very curious what the effects of this will be for like Gen Alpha, because this is Gen Alpha. Like, I don't even think, I mean, it's probably the low end of Gen Z, but like Roblox is a lot of Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
It's like late Zoomers and early Alpha.
Yeah, there's a tweet here on my screen that's from Salsabil, who says, y'all, my cousin is 15 and couldn't join a protest, so she just went to one on Roblox. Bro, I'm crying.
That's interesting.
It really is. Like kids are, because it speaks a lot to what kids are doing online and how they view their lives and their world. It's the same as like when we couldn't do anything, when we couldn't go out into the world and do what we wanted to do, we were on like forums and like, you know, little community. We were Zanga and LiveJournal and like all these different Tumblr, you know, doing activism within the bubble of other Tumblr kids. Yeah. You know, that was like a huge part of Tumblr as a platform.
Right.
This is the same, like these kids can't go out. I can't go out and protest, but I know I feel strongly about this.
Yeah.
I can build this world where I can protest.
Right. And like, I am always going to be in favor of people's right to protest, 100%. I'm curious how many kids are getting the actual information and how many, like, I don't know, and I'm not imposing this upon these kids.
Right.
I want to know how many of these kids are learning about the issues and how many of them are participating in the trend of engaging with an issue. And this is not like a generational commentary. This is not me being like a millennial talking shit on Zoomers, because like I know I was doing that.
Yeah.
Like I know when I was a teenager on Tumblr, and I know that like for me that like late stage Bush era is when it was like I became like politically awake. When one day I woke up and it was like, oh, the political system, I have opinions on it. And it was like, you know, anti-Bush, right? And like into the like Obama era. And like I couldn't vote. The first election I could vote in, the first presidential election that I could vote in was Trump.
Yeah. Well, I think
2016 was my first presidential election.
I think you always get, and the internet is great for this, but even pre-internet, you've always gotten this. You get what people, you know, you get what people call slacktivism. You get what people call, you know, the thing is the people who care about the issues and know about the issues don't really care so much if everybody at the protest is as informed as they are.
Yeah.
They care about getting the numbers for their cause. And in that way,
Yeah.
you're right. And that's an issue that doesn't just extend to these kids. It extends to adults. It extends to every community in an age of misinformation. I think, to me, it sounds like what you're saying when we drill down to the heart of it is there isn't usually the burden of no, you're wrong, you're following misinformation is not usually put on children because they're not putting themselves out in that context.
No. So now it's like figuring out, I mean, I think media literacy should be taught to everyone.
Absolutely.
The fact that media literacy is not a foundational school course at this point is absolutely silly. Like, media literacy is one of the most important things we could be teaching kids right now, in coming up for their safety and for others, and like protecting themselves online is
We've
so
lost,
scary.
We've lost an entire generation to people who are not prepared for the internet.
Right. And it's hard. It's really, really hard because it's feeling like, is it too late? Because they've engaged, like the internet is more them than us at this point. And like, how do we go back and teach a foundation to something that is so ingrained in them and that is so familiar to them?
And to be honest, most teachers are not prepped for.
No. And I'm not saying older people do know media literacy.
No.
I think that like there is a subsect of millennials, like I'm a cusp. I was born in 95. I'm the end of 95. So I'm like a year and a month off of being Gen Z.
Yeah.
So with that.
So you're a MySpace moon and a Facebook rising.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that, I think there is a subsect of like millennials that had that watched the change enough of internet that like inherently like put a little media literacy in us.
You know, because you were there.
We know because we were there, I think is a good idea of it. And like when it was forming, and enough that people were still questioning it. Like people didn't inherently trust the internet yet, right?
Yeah.
Like now people inherently trust going on the internet. And I remember when it was still sketchy. What are you doing on there? Why are you on there? Who are you talking to? Why would you be talking to people there?
Yeah.
And
what
now
kind
that
of
it's so
weird what kind of
normalized-
weird stuff is this person putting on their website?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now that it's so normalized, it's like, how do we do that? How do we teach this to kids who like have had an iPad in their hand their whole life? And again, not blaming Gen Z.
Yeah.
It is the responsibility of the parents of Gen Z and the parents of Gen Alpha to figure out how to teach these kids. Like I talk about this all the time. I have a niece, she's 11, and she like live streams sometimes when she is places. And me, I'm officially old enough to be the like dorky ass aunt now that has to call her and be like, you get off live right now.
You're not supposed to be on live.
I can see your location.
You're not supposed to be on live.
Ever.
You're a child. Don't be on live. At the same time, when I look at something like this, I genuinely believe I was raised by a very hippie, politically out there, like never made her beliefs a secret mother, and I think you let kids something like a protest in Roblox. I think is a perfectly fine, reasonable like. Testing, showing that they believe in something, showing that they have commitment to ideals. It's always good to like let kids grow that ideal and grow that persona within themselves and figure out who they are.
Yeah.
And you're going to do things when you're a teenager. You're going to say things politically that you don't agree with 10 years later, 20 years later.
And then there's going to be some that like you stand by and you got to be politically informed on that made you a less prejudiced person, that exposed you to things. There was somebody in the chat who was like, these kids are growing up in a global community that like people without the internet did not. They are more informed on these issues and they are more exposed to these issues. And like there is factual evidence to show that that's going to raise kids with less prejudice, because we know exposure is incredibly important to raising kids that like become good people.
Yeah, and I think as long as that community, parents, teachers, whoever the adults and the responsible parties are around them, are just watching over them a little and making sure that none of those beliefs are turning dangerous or harmful.
Which we are not saying this is, to be clear.
No,
not this.
No, I'm saying something like this is perfectly fine.
Yes.
Something like this is good, but you want to make sure that they're not going down, because we're talking about them being exposed to everything.
Oh, everything. And the idea of what is activism, and it can be for anything, and there are activists of all different kinds.
I mean, the recidivism over the last 5 to 7 years on the internet of into sexism that had been getting steadily better.
Oh yeah, the Jordan Peterson of it all.
The absolute recidivism over the last 5 to 7 years, because kids, young boys, are getting these podcasts in their TikTok feeds.
Yep, they're being targeted, marketed. They're being marketed to in a very specific way that they're looking for vulnerable young boys.
Which, spoilers, we just spent 2.5 years isolated with no social contact. They're all vulnerable.
Yep.
They all feel lonely right now.
Yeah, 100%.
So watching that mudslide back into it has been really rough to watch. Really rough to watch. And so media literacy is important, but it's important to let kids do things like this as well.
Yeah. Oldie McOld, which is a very fun name for this, said, we did lose a generation, and that generation is 65 plus, maybe even most of Gen X.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they're too far gone.
Yep.
And like most of the time I just chalk it up to all the lead poisoning, but it's also this.
Yeah.
It's also the lack of like media literacy. They don't speak the language that we're doing now.
Yeah.
Like they just simply don't. The internet is its own entire culture that they've just missed the.
I have relatives that I have not spoken to in years because they have become extremely harmful to themselves, to their communities around them.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer. It's an absolute bummer.
And we had 2 people back to back in chat go, and asbestos. Yes. And also the asbestos.
Yeah, the asbestos was a big deal too.
The asbestos and the lead poisoning.
There was the lead in the paint. There was the asbestos in the ceilings.
Gas pumps too.
The gas pumps.
Like,
there's the fluoride the government puts in the water.
Okay. I will say the lead poisoning thing is so interesting, and it changed. Like, I think about it. Maybe that's my Roman Empire. I think of the lead poisoning of like Gen X and boomers every day. Because, do you know about this? What lead poisoning does to your brain other than poisons you? Do you know what like parts of the brain it affects?
It's
your centers for fucking empathy, dude.
Yeah.
It affects your centers for empathy.
Interesting.
How interesting.
How interesting.
How interesting. Just saying.
Just saying. Everybody's
just saying. When you hear that, you go, oh, that makes a little bit of sense, actually.
I can't wait till we find out what all the plastics in our body are doing. That's going to be cool.
I just hear Alex on the other side.
Alex just goes, ah.
Okay. Hey, since Alex, let's try and relieve the pain that we're putting Alex through right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this freshly announced Marvel Magic the Gathering. I would love to throw to Alex for this because I haven't gotten to dig into this at all yet.
Oh yeah, and Alex, if you have any parting words about Palestine.
No.
Before you want to, no? Okay.
I don't have anything to say on that, but I am excited to talk about Magic because I know a lot about Magic the Gathering and I love talking about it. So as part of the Universes Beyond series that Magic the Gathering has been doing, they've just announced that they're going to be doing a crossover with Marvel.
So for people who are not as versed in Magic, the Universes Beyond versus the like the Secret Lair drops, what are the differences?
Yeah. So Secret Lair are a series of exclusive drops that are just like usually 5 or 6 special art cards. So they might be alternate versions of something. They have done Secret Lairs that are themed drops. So they've done ones that are like My Little Pony.
Yeah. I remember the Street Fighter ones.
Yeah, Street Fighter. Or not My Little Pony. Friendship Magic? No, it is My Little Pony.
Yeah.
Yes, things like that. But the Universes Beyond are actually full sets that they've done that are based on other IPs. So they have a Doctor Who themed Commander set. They've got the Lord of the Rings set. They did a Bob Ross Secret Lair, actually.
I remember that. So those ones, because I know Secret Lair, if you want to go and do competitive play, they're like, no Secret Lair. Is Universes
You can use
Beyond
Secret
okay?
Lair. You can, Universes Beyond and Secret Lair can be used in competitive play.
Okay.
Usually they set the rules per Secret Lair or per card or per set. Also, many of the Secret Lairs are just alternate versions of existing cards that can be used in Commander or Limited or Modern or whatever.
Great. So Marvel is going to be, it sounds like Marvel is going to be as big as the Lord of the Rings or the Doctor Who sets.
Yes. Yes. I'm really excited because I think anything that gets people into a game and expands the audience is a good thing, especially for a collectible card game, because Magic the Gathering supports a ton of artists. Actually, I just like sharing this fact, but Magic the Gathering is the biggest commissioner of fantasy art.
Whoa. Yeah, I heard that.
300 or 400 pieces of fantasy art per set, and they have like 3 or 4 sets per year now, maybe more.
Yeah.
And each is at least $1,000 baseline, maybe more. So they're spending like $300,000 per set times 3 or 4 on commissioning artists.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have a buddy who's done a few cards for them, and he was like, they're great to work for, and they keep fantasy art in business practically.
It's amazing.
Wow, that is a fun fact. Thank you so much, Alex.
So what do we know about the Marvel set so far?
It was a really cute little like live action trailer.
Oh,
yeah, isn't it?
do we want to put it up a little bit?
Yeah, you want to watch it? We can watch it.
We can put it up.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Let's watch it.
It's very cute. We can watch it probably sound off. But yeah, it's just like a little boy checking it out. A little adorable.
That's nice.
I don't know why my computer's having such a hard time loading Twitch today that I thought we were dropping frames, but
I too love comic books. I too have a pillow fort.
it's true.
Not a big deal. Just dropping.
Yeah. Hey,
Just kind of
we were talking about babies not being relatable earlier. This kid's super relatable.
super relatable. This kid. Yeah, this
It's
is
just a
very
kid who loves
sweet.
Marvel. It's sweet.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, Alex was muted on that last part, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
know about the set?
Nothing. The answer was nothing.
The answer's nothing.
The answer was just this trailer, and that's it.
Yeah. And the mother looks at the card and goes, "Is this a Satan thing? Is my kid into the devil?"
And the answer is probably, yeah.
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
Be cool about it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Try to be cool about it, Mom.
Okay. I feel like our last big piece of news, which is debatable, which is greatly debatable on whether or not this is big news. Grand Theft Auto fans are currently convinced that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be released tomorrow entirely from speculation and conspiracy. Their most recent one was them being convinced that it was going to come today. Now they're saying tomorrow. I don't know. It keeps getting like pushed around essentially.
Oh, boy.
Originally they did think it was going to be today. Grand Theft Auto 6, of course, was not released today.
Really?
They just keep pushing it down like how they thought the world was going to end in 2012.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no. We know we said it was this day, but it's probably actually a month from now.
No, this sounds like
We
it's
mean-
turned into full on cult status here.
Yeah. So they released a new outfit. They said this month's Devilish and Dapper, Red Dead Online. Now, mind you, this is Red Dead, okay? And they're convinced they're hiding things for Grand Theft Auto in this Red Dead costume.
Stop.
Comes from YouTuber
Please.
Bogan Bov. I don't know. Traverse the map in a sinister style by claiming these items from participating tailors and the Wheeler, Rawson, and Co. All stuff in Red Dead
Yeah.
Online.
Now, please bring up my screen, Alex. Here's a post saying it has to be on purpose.
It's so funny.
With somebody, that's how you found a 6, my guy?
It's
Are
so
they goofing?
funny.
Are they
It's
goofing?
so funny, isn't it?
They're doing goofs. They're doing goofs, right?
I don't know. The Grand Theft Auto
That feels weird.
community is really intense.
That feels weird to me.
Other people, I'm pretty sure there's 24 skulls in the photo. A lot of people arguing because and saying terrible things. Don't scroll into the Reddit comments. Never scroll into Reddit comments.
Yeah.
God, people are awful on Reddit. Never.